What's up, guys? It's your friendly neighborhood turtle hermit, JackieChun. I'm back again. I got another 4th generation standard Wi-Fi battle for you guys today. This is against, I believe the user Mike340, if I'm not mistaken. Found him on Smogon. This is a battle I actually had today. Today is Sunday, so depending on when I get this uploaded, hopefully it'll be sometime today, but if not, you guys will see it coming. You guys are in for a real treat today. This was ended up being an awesome match overall, and every thought process, every turn was pretty much crucial. Definitely got to say that. Just waiting for him to come back on here, and yeah, you guys will see how it goes. Guys, leave a comment in the description below to see if you like these vids, because apparently I can upload stuff for more than 15 minutes now. I have no idea how I got that privilege, but I mean, hey, I'll take what I can get. So we're leading off here. I lead off with Hippo. He's leading off with an Azelf. There were a lot of things that went on here. I went through a lot of thought processes because Azelf as a lead is now diverse enough to where you really have to watch what you have to do. I needed to scout and see if it was the standard lead, if it was Colbur Azelf, or if it was a choice banded set. So eventually I do finally go to Spirit Tomb because I had so many things that was going through my head. Will it Zen Headbutt? Will it Grass Knot? Will it go for the Fire Blast? Or will it just taunt? It could even explode first turn. So I go to Spirit Tomb. I figure that's the best switch in at this point, and he does go for the taunt, so that deduces that he is either the standard set or a Colbur Azelf set, so he's not choice banded. So I figured even if he decided to taunt, that I was just going to go for the 2-hit KO with Dark Pulse. Even if it was a Colbur Azelf set, I was pretty confident that it would still be a 2-hit KO. Given that although I don't have any special attack EVs invested, Dark Pulse is stab, and Azelf doesn't have the best defenses. So I actually almost went to Heatran here at this point, but I was still fearing the explosion, so I just decided to stay in. He does decide to go ahead and set up the rocks, and that's pretty much how it goes here. I go for the second Dark Pulse and take this thing out, and he is going to go for the Fire Blast here, and which I believe I almost went to Heatran again at this point, in case he did have Fire Blast. I kind of wish I did, but what can you do? I'm able to get that damage taken care of later on. So I get a useless crit on the second Dark Pulse, and his Azelf does go down, but he does get rocks up, so he pretty much gets the job done. Now in comes his Melodic here, and I was really fearing this Melodic. I was fearing that it was some type of offensive set. I started going through a couple things in my head, a couple calcs. I even thought it might even be choice specs, because if it's choice specs and it's got Hydro Pump, it's going to 1-hit KO my Spirit Tomb, so I don't want to lose my Ghost this early. And the whole reasoning behind why I was fearing it was because I saw Azelf as a lead, and typically if Azelf's a lead, then you're pretty much looking at an offensive team at that point. So at the end of the day, I just decided to switch out here, not wanting to lose my Ghost this early. I decided to go to Venusaur. I potentially could have gone to Fortress, but I didn't want to give away my style of team. I didn't want to give away the fact that I was playing stall, and give my opponent the advantage as far as preparing for it, and as far as what moves he's going to pick and things of that nature. So I go to Venusaur. That's the poke I was most comfortable revealing at this point. So worst case scenario was if he did go for the Ice Beam, I was pretty confident I could live it without taking too much damage. So he goes for the Toxic here, with melodic. I am a little behind. I do apologize. And when I saw the leftovers, I really wasn't fearing melodic at all. So I just decided to go for the leech seed, predicting the switch. And he does switch out, goes to Caesar. I hit the leech seed. Even if Heatran did come in, if he was packing Heatran, I figured it was fine. So I protect. I was 99% sure this thing was choice banded, so I protect to scout what move he's gonna lock himself into, and he locks himself into U-turn. But you guys will see what type of Caesar that is later on. I'm not gonna spoil it now. Is he choice banded? Maybe, we'll see. So I go for the sleep powder. I actually miss. I decided to stay in because I knew he was gonna stay in and U-turn. He gets a crit, and that really sucked. Venusaur is basically taken out of the match at this point because at 30 HP, he's not even going to be able to come back in. Although I do live after the sand, because rocks are down, he's not going to be able to come back in. I had a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach when that happened. I was just sitting there like, okay, I see how this match is going to go, but I take it in stride, just decide to deal with it. That's the way the game goes. So Shadow Ball is obvious at this point. I don't have to worry about Focus Blast, at least for right now, just based on his playing style, that he doesn't want to risk missing Focus Blast by over predicting too early. So I go to Heatran at this point, who can take Shadow Balls all day from this thing. So I don't see leftovers and I don't see Life Orb. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's choiced, or it might be Expert Belt just to kind of trick its opponents. Which, but at this point, I'm just gonna roar to scout what his counter is gonna be. I figured it was most likely Melodic, but I just wanted to see if he had any other counters to Heatran. So Melodic comes back in, I roar, and get his Caesar. That kind of sucks for him. I just imagined him raging at that point. That was the worst possible switch in he could get, and I figured even if he Focus Blasted with Gengar, I could live it. So I know it's choiced at this point, but I don't know if it's Scarf or Specs, and I don't realize it until the end of the game. So the switch here is obvious, unless he wants to be really ballsy and just go for the superpower, or U-turn out if he does outspeed. So I'm going to predict the switch back to Melodic and go to Fortress, and I just figured now's a good time to set up as any. I'm really not fearing this Melodic as far as an offensive threat. Now that I saw the Toxic that he tried to do earlier, he was thinking I was staying with Spiritomb, but I went to Venusaur, so he's actually going to switch out here, and I go for the first layer of spikes, and he goes into Donphan. Now, I really didn't expect this Donphan. I mean, I'm not dissing it. Donphan's pretty beast. It's a pretty great tank, even in the OU environment if you play it right. So now he's really got me thinking here, because he could spin my hazards away if I let him, or he can hit me with an Earthquake if he's predicting me to go to Spiritomb to block the rapid spin. And I just really think here, and at this point I just decided to go ahead and show another one of my guys that he hadn't seen yet, figuring, you know what, I've only got one layer of spikes, so even if he does rapid spin, it's really not that big of a deal. So I figured I could just come back in later on. If I've dealt with this Donphan accordingly, I could just come back in and set up the hazards later on. So I actually go to Slowbro, knowing he can take anything that this Donphan wants to throw at me. And he does predict the Spiritomb switch in, most likely predicting me to predict his rapid spin. So he does go for the Earthquake, doesn't do a whole lot, doesn't do too much damage, does a pretty sizable amount, but not too much. He's actually going to switch out here, and he is going to go into Caesar, and I went for the Slack Off just in case he wanted to get cute and bring Melodic back in, and I figured even if Caesar does come in, it's fine, since I'd be back at full health, and U-turn's not going to be a one-hit KO. But I went for Surf, even though it wouldn't be a one-hit KO on Caesar at the health level that he's at. and U-turn was pretty obvious, but the whole reasoning behind me going for surf is I thought maybe he would want to go for a pursuit, predicting me to switch out. So well, them's the breaks. So in comes melodic again, and I was, at this point, I was 99% sure it was going to go for a toxic. I was 99% sure, but just in case, I decided to go for the slack off. Just in case. I was actually scouting for the hidden power electric or grass, which is the whole reasoning behind why I'm getting ready to go for the slack off here. But he does go for the toxic, and I was like, oh man, I knew it. I knew he was going to go for toxic. I should have clicked toxic and we would have just toxiced each other. That just would have been lulzy. So, oh well. Anyway, I really can't do much else to this melodic, so at this point I'm just going to decide to stay in. I'm at near full health. Toxic's not taking too much of a toll on me, at least right now. I figured I've got 3 turns at max to stay in here and just kind of do my thing. So this turn I'm just going to go for the toxic at this point. So that's pretty much what I do. He does go for surf, so that tells me he doesn't have hidden power electric or grass, because if he did, he would have used it on that turn. He wouldn't have done surf. So anywho, I raged a little bit because now, even though he's toxic, I'm basically a turn behind if this does turn into a toxic war. So I'm just kind of debating what to do, and he goes to Gengar at this point, and I just go for the slack off just to keep myself healthy, because I now know I'm going to lose 18% of my health on this turn because of toxic. So I just want to keep my HP level as high as possible at this point. And he probably predicted me to slack off and knew that I would not go for the surf. And I think at this point he's starting to get a fair grip on my playstyle, seeing that I'm playing pretty defensively with this team. So I guess I could have predicted the switch, but I did fear that he might predict that by staying in and going for a surf with melodic. So excuse me. And I don't have anything else to take a surf at this point, so I'm gonna go to Heatran. And this was a pretty obvious switch in because I feared the Shadow Ball. He predicts that, makes an excellent play, goes for the Focus Blast, and my hand it's kind of getting forced at this point. So I've got to switch out again and go to Spiritomb, because a lot of my guys have taken pretty considerable damage at this point because I've been playing so defensively. And I went to Spiritomb just to double check that he was choiced, just to make 100% sure, and he does go for the Focus Blast again. So now I know he's going to switch out, so I get a chance to rest up and get my health back, and he reveals his last guy, which is Infernape. So, and at this point I kind of start rushing my moves a little bit because I thought I was going to have to leave my house in a little bit, so I started rushing my moves, but I still try to play pretty smart. Infernape's in here. I was 100% sure this was going to be a sweeper set, either Swords Dance or Nasty Plot, and I was like, well, if this thing sets up, it's game. It's over. He's going to be able to sweep my whole team because I've just taken so much damage. So, but he turns out, and I was like, thank God. I figured I would stay in and try to get something, either set up a Calm Mind sweep, get some Calm Minds up, or hit something with Dark Pulse during the Rest Talk cycle. But he U-turns out, goes to Caesar. On the first Sleep Talk I do get Dark Pulse. I expected a U-turn again, just expecting him to just U-turn around until my Spiritomb got KO'd, but he actually Bug Bites, which was kind of a surprise to me. So I get a Calm Mind, but at this point it's useless. I'm still gonna have to switch out. I'm just not set up at this point for a Calm Mind sweep. So I'm actually gonna go to Fortress. And at this point I still think it's choice banded, but I figured I could just set up on him, or at least get one more layer of spikes. But he switches to Bullet Punch, and this is where I find out he's not choiced at all. Now I don't see Leftovers and I don't see Life Orb, so I'm thinking, okay, is this thing Expert Belt, or does it have something crazy like Aquaberry or even Muscle Band. I really don't know. So, not that those items are bad, but it's something you don't see every day. So, big props to Mike for using this type of Caesar instead of the standard choice band that everybody's used to. So, he switches over to Superpower, which I knew was coming, but I knew I would live it because now I've deduced that it's not banded. So, I just start setting up anyway. And leftovers was key at this point because since I'm getting leftovers recovery, Superpower is actually going to be a 3-hit KO, especially with the attack and defense drops that he's getting every time he uses it. So he's going to switch back to Donphin as I go for another layer. And I really wasn't sure if I could live the Earthquake. So, and it's at this point I realized I still have Hippowdon, who's pretty healthy. So, and I was really trying to predict the rapid spin at this point because I was starting to get my hazards up. And I really wanted to predict a rapid spin, but, well, Spiritomb was just a little bit too low for my taste in case he scouts the Spiritomb switch in and goes for the Earthquake, and then he gets knocked out. So, at this point, I believe I'm going to switch at this point and go to Hippowdon, because figuring that, you know what, I've got layers up, but if he does spin them away, it's okay. I can stomach it. It'll just kind of suck because he's got two bulky things in Melodic and Donphin that they're not poisoned. They're not on a timer right now, and if the hazards go away, then they're not going to be taking any damage when they switch in. Nor will his other guys. So I think about this for a really long time at this point because I was really trying to predict that rapid spin. I really was, but I decided just to go to Hippowdon and just eat it if he does rapid spin. But he's still scouting for the Spiritomb switch in, and he goes for the Earthquake. So that awesome play on his part. I mean, that's what you do. Scout for the ghost, so that way you're free to rapid spin. Especially seeing as he's seen Fortress, so he knows that's what my team is going to do, is going to set up hazards and try to wear you down. So Hippowdon's in here and Donphin's in. Now he just finally decides to go for the rapid spin, and I just go for the slack off because in the end I just finally decide I don't want Spiritomb taking damage. I don't want it to get knocked out. I wanted to maximize my options as far as trying to win this match. So he does spin. I go ahead and set up the rocks, and he goes to Melodic, and I predicted the most likely that he would switch. I didn't want to roar unless hazards were down, so, and he probably made the switch thinking that I wouldn't go for the Stealth Rock since I saw that he had rapid spin, and maybe he thought that I thought it would be pointless. So I switch out here not wanting to take a Surf. I go back to Fortress hoping to live the Surf, but I don't. So now Fortress is gone, so that's pretty much it as far as hazards, the ones that I have set up. So I have to pretty much work with what I got, and I'm not going to be able to spin anything away either. So I go back to Hippo at this point because he's the only thing I have on this team that can take a Surf from Melodic. Everything else has taken way too much damage. And I would have to do some really smart switching to try to get them rested up, or try to get a slack off up, or get a Giga Drain or a Leech Seed with Venusaur, except that Venusaur can't come back in, he's too low. So anyway, disregard that. He goes for the Surf. I knew I could live one, barring a crit. I go for the Earthquake here. Now, despite Marvel Scale, I really needed to get damage on this Melodic at this point. That damage was really crucial, as you guys will see on this turn. And I was literally raging because I'm sitting here and I got Venusaur, who's useless, but I was determined to use it as scout fodder, so that's exactly what I do here. Just to scout what he's going to do. Pray he doesn't recover, and he doesn't, and he goes for the KO with Surf. So Toxic and Sand is going to take him out. So that was very risky on my part because he could have easily just recovered. So it's a double down. And if he recovered there, if he had it, then it probably definitely would have been game at that point. But, I mean, you never know. So It's a double down. I'm gonna go to Heatran, expecting him to go to one of his U-turners, either Caesar or Infernape, and I was just gonna go for the Lava Plume at that point, as they either one of them U-turn out. But he goes to Donphin instead, and when he did that, he basically forced me into a situation where now I have to go on the offensive, because if I can continue to play defensively, I will lose this game. So now I realize at this point that all game there has been no hacks in my favor, so I'm just gonna go for broke here, and I just go for the Lava Plume, hoping to get at least a burn. And I figured Donphin's got pretty bad special defense as far as the base stat, so I would at least get some considerable damage. But I am amply rewarded, and I get a crit, and it one-hit KOs the Donphin. That was big. That was the game changer of the entire match. So I'm pretty much back in the game at this point. Now, although I've got a lot of guys that have taken a lot of damage, with the exception of Slowbro, who's still pretty healthy. So in comes Gengar. He's going to go for the Shadow Ball, not wanting to missing with Focus Blast. But Restalk Tran is just too beast for that. He's just way too beast. So I'm going to go for Lava Plume again. And he goes for Shadow Ball, and he lives with 4 HP. I was like, wow. And Lava Plume takes it down enough to where the sand will take Gengar out. I was sitting there going, oh my god, I think I just won this game. So Caesar comes in. Now at this point, I've got to start sacking guys, because Slowbro's pretty much going to finish this game up for me. That's what I realized. He's the only one that's healthy enough to take an attack and hit something back with Surf. So he's going to Bullet Punch. I was kind of hoping I would live this too, but I knew I would, despite the 4 times resist. So I'm going to go into Hippowdon here, who's at a high enough level to where I was pretty sure a Bullet Punch would not one-hit KO, nor a Bug Bite. So I really had to cross my fingers still at this point, though, because if Bullet Punch takes me out, or a Bug Bite takes me out, or even Superpower, I'm pretty much done, because between Caesar and Infernape, they will take Slowbro out. So he goes for the Bullet Punch, and I live with 35 HP, and I'm able to finish the Caesar off with an Earthquake. So the only thing he's got left is an Infernape, which I don't know if I said earlier, but after seeing the damage it did to Spiritomb, I deduced that it was most likely Choice Banded. So at this point, I just got to see what he's going to lock himself into, although I'm 99% sure it's U-turn, and it is. That will easily take Hippowdon out. But I go ahead and finish the plan up. Stick to the plan, finish it up, bring Slowbro in, and was pretty confident I could live 1 U-turn, barring a crit from a Choice Band and Infernape. And takes me down quite a bit, actually. But it's not going to be enough, and he probably did it either hoping for the crit or just hoping he would one-hit KO me, which is why he locked himself in a U-turn. But I'm able to finish it off with a Surf, and that is going to be the game. That was an awesome game, Mike. Definitely hope to play you again sometime. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you love what you saw, and Chun is out. Peace.